So Donald Trump rejects responsibility for violence at his rallies, but his Republican rivals say the violence is a natural outgrowth of Trump's rhetoric. So what's behind the campaign chaos? We're reaching out right now to Trump supporter Pastor Mark Burns. In fact, he was invited to speak at a Trump rally this morning in Bloomington, Illinois. So Pastor, thank you for joining us today. Let us begin with the violence. What do you make of the kerfuffles that we've been seeing at Trump rallies?
Well, first of all, I think it's an atrocity and an unfortunate event what took place in Chicago. What's taken place across the country, and I've been privy to be in many of them speaking before or introducing Mr. Trump at many of his rallies across the country, as I've done this morning, and we'll be doing again tomorrow and the next day, is you have a lot of um, frustrated people who don't have jobs, frustrated people who understand that our country has been the United States has been going in a vortex circle, going backwards and not moving forward. Companies are leaving this great country, going into other countries, and people are frustrated. They are angry, and not only that, they don't trust. The establishment, the GOP, or the current political establishment. The Obama administration has caused even more division within the cultures and the ethnic groups here in America. And so what you see is very passionate people who believe in Donald Trump, and they want to make sure that our country is made great again, and they believe he's the only person that can do it. And so obviously, Mr. Trump can't control you or I or 15,000 people that are passionate about America, and they
But
want to see this country move forward.
But Pastor Burns, what do you make then of the other Republican opponents who say, Donald Trump is the one that it's essentially tweaking his supporters? He's the one that is encouraging violence at his own rallies. What do you make of that criticism from other Republicans?
Well, I don't think that's obviously not true at all. Mr. Trump does not advocate balance. I think, again, just like Bernie Sanders couldn't control his supporters for coming to Chicago to disrupt the rally. Again, taking away the First Amendment right to a free speech, they came to shut it down, and they were successful. Bernie Sanders hasn't taken responsibility for his supporters who have taken credit for shutting down Chicago. And so just like, again, um, Bernie Sanders can't control them. Johnny Kasich, there was a pastor like myself who was shot. He was shot at a Johnny Kasich rally. And again, Johnny Kasich and his campaign cannot take ownership for it, nor could they have prevented it. And so just like those incidents, Mr. Trump can't take responsibility for what take place in his rallies. Again, he's a unifier. He's
But
very
can't he,
passionate.
but if I can jump in here, Pastor, can't he tell his supporters, stop it? These people will be loud, let them have their say, and then we'll have our rally. Could he not do that?
Well, I think again, it's important that the people who come to the rallies, they come to hear Donald Trump. Donald Trump and the campaign. Again, as you know, Donald Trump funds his own campaign. No other company, no super PAC is funding his campaign. So obviously, when he comes there on his own dime, he is coming there to make sure his message. He has the right for his message to be spoken. Now, if they want to go and get their own facility and pay the hundreds of thousands of dollars out of their own pocket, they have every right to do that. They also have the right to protest, but they don't have the right to disrupt. And that's exactly what they did. They can protest, and they do. And like
Sorry,
today in
Pastor.
Bloomington.
And I understand what you're saying, that they have the right to protest but not disrupt. But I do also want to raise one point that's been raised with us here, because we spoke to one of the protesters in Chicago, also an African-American, also a pastor, and he basically said he was protesting because he is worried that the language that Trump uses is actually code for justifying racism once again in the United States. What do you say to other African-Americans who don't share your point of view about Trump and are worried about the underlying issue of race that's being raised in his campaign?
Well, racism really starts in an individual's heart. Hate will beget hate, and love will beget love. The fact of the matter is, concerning African Americans, let's just take me for an example. Because of my support of Donald Trump, the only racism that I have really experienced since supporting Mr. Trump has been from other African Americans. No white person has never called me coon. No white person has never called me the N-word, like today from Twitter, N-word for hire. No white person has ever said I'm Uncle Tom and has showed horrible, horrible negative comments just based off of the color of my skin for having a different set of beliefs. Racism is an individual. I think, to be honest with you, if we want to talk about race, we got to first learn how to treat our own kind first. Blacks need to learn how to treat and love blacks, just like the Black Lives Matter movement. I believe and I stand wholeheartedly with making sure that if a cop just kills an innocent person, they need to be held accountable, and that's one of the major movements of the Black Lives Matter movement. But if for Black Lives Matters, for Black Lives to matter, they have to first matter to Black people. Meaning, we got to stop killing each other. 90% of murders concerning, according to the FBI report, were killed by other Black people. We got to stop pulling each other down and start raising each other up. Again, many blacks in
Okay.
America call the president an Tom Coon. Why is it that we destroy our own kind, but yet we want to fight the white man, so to speak, here in America? No, that's hypocritical. That's ludicrous. We got to call the facts what they are.
And Pastor Burns, we will leave it there. I want to thank you for your time. That is Pastor Mark
Thanks.
Burns, a Trump supporter who spoke earlier today for the Republican hopeful in Bloomington, Illinois.